Hello. Oh, let's swap over to all these different cams. Hello, I'm having to tweak the video cam today manually. Let's see if I can fix that before I get started. Apologies for the delay. For whatever reason, this camera is now swapped to 1080p. I'll just try and fix that. It's happened last time as well, so bear with. It's also not doing the auto tracking that it should be as well. So give me 2 minutes. Okay, still sounds a bit strange. One sec.
That should be much better, although it's in mono. How strange. I feel like I get a new technical issue every time on YouTube. Let's try again. How strange. Bear with. So I can down mix it to mono like this, but it sounds slightly different than it should. But let me do some testing on that real quick. Give it a little bit of a lift. I mean, it sounds okay on my end, but it's not my end I'm worried about. Okay, I'll just have to give that a go for a minute. The webcam is in 1080p. I will try and fix that as well. That's always fun. So whilst I try and fix that, what I'm going to do is I'll go full screen for you. You can see what we're going to be looking at today. Get rid of my little audio mixer there. I have some very old legacy kind of orchestral things. You can see this is kind of all over the place. I'm going to just play through some bits of it and then hopefully add a bit of magic and some interesting stuff on this. And I'll try and talk through as I do it. So let me just disable this webcam whilst I have a play about with that. And then I'll just do some quick testing on the levels. Probably bring that down a touch. Ooh, we've got no audio out. This is driving me doolally. Okay, one sec. So that works. Right, there we are. Fixed it. Amazing. Down mix to mono. Absolutely not. That should sound much better. Ooh, some stuff's not loaded in properly, so give me 1 sec. This is the fun of live streaming complex audio production. So I'll talk through some stuff in a second once we're up and running. Don't want to have anyone waiting. And then, yeah, anyone who watches the VOD, I'll be with you in a moment. That's better. Okay, let me fix this webcam. I'll just let that play. that's pretty much where we're up to. I will get this thing re-enabled. Fingers crossed. There we are. Correct back in. Although it's not doing any of the auto tracking. I have no idea why. Just needs to restart, I think. But yeah, we shall endure. So, welcome everyone. Let's get stuck into what on earth is happening with this track then. So, pretty complex one. Started writing this a good few years ago, to be honest. And I think I never really got the chance to finish it. I'll show you how it started. Oh, I don't know why that suddenly changes pitch. I think I know what I've done here. I was transposing some stuff. Wow, 3 different sets of reverb. Some slightly dissonance. So what I need to do, I think, is take all the transposers and things off, get it back in its original key. So yeah, some of this isn't transposed, some of it is, all over the shop. So just going to select all this audio, make sure none of it's transposed. What I'll probably do is just glue it all together. Saves me having to then individually re-edit loads of different elements. So just clicking each one then, looking at the top, transpose 0, transpose 0, transpose 0, and just going through. And what I'm hoping that's done, yeah, so transpose 3, and then all this stuff down here is probably transposed, so yep, -3, change it back to 0. I transpose stuff sometimes just to give my ears a bit of a break, because if you're listening to the same thing constantly, you change it into key, a different key rather, you kind of re-hearing it again, but you do change all the frequency responses. Something to be... Here we go. Sounds better. Don't like that bit, that's going to get binned off. So lots of separate problems with that, which I'll come and fix in a minute. Might sound great to some of you, but lots of mixed stuff all over the place. And then this section here. This was very experimental at the time. As you can tell. And then we've got stuff that's transposed but not transposed. Interesting. One sec. See what's happening here. This is where the fun really began with the track. I'm very happy with this little section. The rest of it, though, it doesn't quite flow. So I'm going to try and see what we can do with that. Need to see where this weird stuff's happening. this is all still transposed somehow. I've never seen this before. So the actual track should be... Ooh. That's playing a B flat. Interesting. This is playing... Why does it sound so wrong? It's almost like it's still transposed. Tell you what, I'll have to undo all of that stuff. Just holding Control Z. Right. Lot going on there. Love how it sounds, but needs a lot of tweaking to kind of make it kind of go all tingly. So, percussion needs fixing. I'm going to focus on percussion in a little bit. See what's going on with this piano. Not sure I like. It's got some strange resonance that's going on, so I'm going to just swap it out for another piano. Sounds better. Still a little bit. Better tonally. See how it sits with the rest of that section. Okay, so all that stuff needs a bit of structuring and assistance, is what I'm going to say. But, oh god, I've gone far too far to the right. So all that bit after that section, it needs to tell a story, which currently it's not telling me anything. So I'm going to just shift it all to the right. And I will come back and give that a little bit of a purpose, much like all the other sections as well. So, there is, within that section, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 main elements. I need to make sure that they're all playing a part, because when I made this initially, it just went duplicate, 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 went absolutely bonkers. And actually, whilst that works to a point, when it comes to actually keeping organized, it doesn't really help. So I'm going to go through line by line on this bit here. And rebalance them as I go. So this mixing desk is there's so much going on. So I'm going to increase the channel width just so you can actually see what's going on, right? And I will try and Yeah, I think that's probably going to work. Make these faders a bit bigger for you. Hopefully that's a bit better. So yeah, I'm going to go through line by line, section by section. I need to make sure that they're all subgrouped, which from the group tracks I can see, they are not. Cardinal sin number 1. I have no idea why I used to write like this, but I will group them in subsections before then like putting them into a separate group for the entire rhythm section, and then yeah, we'll help it. In terms of mixing it moving forward, it'll be 100 million times easier. Okay. Nice. Really like that. Those two work really well together. You've got two different instruments. One's probably Tina Guercello, of course it is. I was obsessed with that a few years ago. And then we've got BBC Symphony Orchestra stuff. So obviously both high quality samples. One's really cutting and attacks through the mix, and the other one then just sounds, yeah, very good. Next, let's keep that loop going. Get it all looped up. Next. I'm looking at this meter level here, and also using my ears. Okay, bass isn't actually adding that much, and I don't know if it's because of how it's configured, or if it's because of how this... I've got like a left pan on the one thing, no pan on the other. So normally with bass, so this is a leader bass. So if it was in a big section, you know, and do mean a big orchestra, you'd have a lead of kind of each section. Basses, violas, potentially violin, etc., etc. So with this one, I'm going to make sure that it has a role. The other basses then, what I might end up doing is putting that left slightly. The other section, pan it slightly right, and then keep the bass, the main bass, central. So it should give it a little bit more of a role. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to consider getting rid of it. That's all it's doing. And weirdly, really not adding anything, is it? So I've got a close mix mic on that. That's it. So I can fix this. So I'm going to increase, I put a second close width mic on it. I'm going to put a mono signal in there. And then I'm also going to... There's another mic sound that I really like. The Atmos I'm not a fan of for... These will be spill mics, so I'm not interested in any of those, I don't think. I've just flipped the signal, sounds a bit better. That sounds better. Okay, so let's do a final balance on that lot. And I've got this mixture of reverbed, non-reverbed, like really high cutting attack. And then, yeah, the whole thing gives you this nice mix of double sounds there. So I think I'm going to stick with that. And I'm going to subgroup them. So create a group track. If you're not using Cubase, you'd use some type of bus and send them all there. This is going to be then low stack strings. Okay, so I've already got a subgroup for it, but I have no idea how I programmed that, so I'm going to leave that there. So now if I want to mix them all together against the rest of it, guess what I can do? I've got this lovely low stack string group, so if I start having any issues in a bit, I can just bump all over this. So that's okay. Let's move down the list then. So next, let's check that with the piano actually. Bring that down a bit. It's actually decent sound now. I'd much rather play that on my actual piano, but yeah, it's just got a bit too much presence. It's great in this section. So the secret here is in the section that I like it in. Make sure it's all glued together and sounds decent. Wow. Yeah, so I played this in live. And you can see I've got all the velocity data all over the place. So I'm going to compress it down in the scaling function. So still a little bit of that human element, but I can then scale it upwards. Make it louder here. Better. Okay, we'll jump onto that. The bass I love, by the way, but we'll jump onto that in a second. So let's listen then to this. Now, my thought with this is because this is the Tina Guo cello, so because it's got this really harsh cutting quality, which is great, and it needs to sit lower in the mix. Okay, need to watch this. bit spiky, that. Yeah, you can hear it. So, I'm actually quite happy with that as a mix, but it's not got as much magic as I wanted. So, what I'm actually going to do, which is madness, it's going to actually cripple me, but this woodwind stuff just needs to be another like 16 tracks deep. So, I'm going to save what I've got there before I start going mad. I'm going to start duplicating one of each of these, and then we'll start doing some adjustments. So instead of BBC Woodwind, I'm pretty sure that was a piccolo. Great. Sorry about using a Bluetooth keyboard occasionally because I'm slightly too far away. It goes a little bit doolally. So that should be a piccolo now. Staccatissimo, it is lovely. So rather than just having that, let's then put a flute doing the same thing. Now, I've already got a flute, so I'm going to have to just be careful how I voice this. Sound, let's see what this sounds like then. So all these two. Much better. Yeah. Okay. So this will be BBC flute. And this one, I'm going to probably turn into an oboe or something. See what that sounds like. Make sure it's swapped into staccatissimo. Let's into this. Okay, sounds better. It needs one more layer in there, I think, which is going to be... Let's see what note spread is on this. So when I say note spread, the distribution of notes, frequency response-wise, playing-wise. So these are all spread across quite a thin group. It's literally 1 octave. So what I could do is I'm going to duplicate again one of each and change the instrument again. All right. It's mainly because I want that MIDI data still. But this time I'm going to now make this piccolo a clarinet. In staccatissimo, call that clarinet. It could probably go pretty low, that. Okay, hold that thought before we get too deep down that rabbit hole. This can then be a bassoon. So I need to decide which do I want to hit. Hit that low end register. Do I want the bassoon? There's a contrabass and some other stuff, cor anglais, and some other stuff I can use as well. Let's have a listen. So if I change that. That's quite nice, that. Now what I can do is group all these together, bring them all down in the mix. They're all very widely panned. It's not a bad thing, but with such extreme panning, the volume goes because, yeah, it's just when you've got something front and center, you've not got that same level of output, basically. So I'm just going to actually tone them down a bit and do a kind of oboe is kind of high, bassoon is kind of low. So I'm going to bring bassoon down to about 40-ish. Oboe about 60-ish, 50, something like that. Let's call it 60. And then flutes, 75. Could even do 70, but 75. And then just mirror it on the other side as well. So clarinet, flute 1. Okay, let's see what that sounds like then. Piccolo's very quiet. Guess what I'm going to do now? I'm going to now grab all of that, and it's going into a lovely little subgroup, just with all of those together. So group track, BBC, stack, WW, and just call it woodwind. I shouldn't use acronyms when I'm streaming because people will be like, what on earth is that? Or for the VODs and stuff. Make sure it's that same type of colour. Now, as I said before, I can now mix these two against each other if I need to. So, and here you go. So, appreciate my stupid faces in the way. There you go. So, here's the two groups. Woodwind, it's not got that power. So if I want it front and center, I'm going to have to bring everything else down or push everything else up, in terms of the woodwind stuff. I will leave it at 0 for now, because until I've done the rest of the mix on the violins and all that string stuff, it's just going to make things really messy, that. But I just need to make a mental note that that's going to probably need to come up. And then when I've got this additional group in between these, which will be all the string stuff, that will all just come down slightly. So, yeah. So that's good. Let's listen to that entire section here with the piano. Here's all those notes being played. We've basically got from C0, F0, let's call it, all the way up to C5 being played there. So it's a massive distribution of notes. The only way it can sound somewhat nice is if it is spread across that frequency range. And I've carved out a little bit of space for each of the instruments. I have no idea why the camera is just zoomed in. I don't think does all this weird, hand gesturing stuff, sorry. I'll sort that out in a moment. But yeah, so I'm going to get a little bit more creative because looking at it, what I like to see is a bit of texture. My entire thing is texture. Like every 4 or 8 bars, something like that, something's doing something. So, 4 bars, you've just got that rhythm section. Then it goes up a key, key change, back in after 4, and then 8 bars later, we start building layers and layers and layers. But if I was to look, say, at this instrument here, it doesn't actually change. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because if we've got too much going on, then as a listener, you're just going to go, nope, not interested anymore. But you see, I've got this subline here. So what I need to be doing really, don't really want any lanes. Going on here. So that's just an octave. Nothing special going on there at all. But it's really kind of unrealistic sounding. So what I almost need to do... Yeah, so I just need to split off this layer here. I'll put it over here for now, just so I've got it. Glue it all together. And what it should look like is just something like this. It's all over, and then it goes quiet. So think of, if you just think of the velocity in this case, it should be going up like this constantly, really. The fact that it then dips back down, I need to fix. So I can fix that in a moment. I might as well do it now whilst it's kind of in my head. So this should all continue upwards, basically. You see it keeps doing that? So that's... There you go, it's a bit better. When I'd have inputted that originally, I'd have been very lazy, I'd imagine. I played it originally rather than then just like... I'd played it once on a good take, and then just took that one good take and just copy paste, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, so you can see it kind of dips in this section here still. So I just need to bring that up here like that. Bring the whole thing just up a touch. I don't mind the occasional drop off. So like here, could probably just boost it a couple of notes. And if I really needed to, I could even lower this slightly, just ever so slightly, and give that a touch of a boost. And then it's got a little bit more dynamics. And oops, don't close that off. So I need to kind of copy that and replicate it across these other like 12 layers of string instruments. Where do we begin? So there's some kind of sub-layering going on here. Just going to pull that away a sec. Yeah, so exact same problem here. I could probably, not that I want to get lazy with this, but I reckon I could probably paste that in here, and I'm pretty certain yeah, it was just an octave. Okay, so then below that, exact same problem with the violins. The reason it's worth doing this is if this was an actual recorded instrument, you'd just be telling them to play it again because you want to fix it at the source level, basically. The source level in this instance, sorry, just zoom that back in. The source level in this instance is MIDI. So the beauty is I've got full control over that MIDI. So like, yeah, why not just fix it? Because I can. It takes a bit of time, but in this instance, by the time I've done it across 16 tracks, the levels will sound more normal, so I might not need to compress it. I'll keep some dynamic range, but not have too much dynamic range. So yeah, it's worth doing. So let's just crack through some of that, and I'll look at what the note distribution is after that. So that's probably too low. It can play that, which is fine. Just check this. This is playing on the G. That's playing on the, let's check what that was. That's playing on the B flat. That's playing on the B flat. So what I could do is just copy that down onto this one. Just so I've got a similar thing, and then it needs to go onto the B flat. Sorry, not B flat, the G. Let's listen to that. Oh god, okay, yeah, it's different notes. So we'll just do it manually. Okay, and now okay, let's see what that sounds like. I'll look at the drums in a bit. Too loud. Cannot hear any of that woodwind that I spent a bit of time on there, so I'll fix that in a moment. Okay, so really frustrating, but we shall endure. So let's go again. There's a little riff in there that's missing. It's supposed to have like an upper bit going. I can't think whereabouts it was. It should be following a little bit more of one of these woodwind lines. So make sure that's there. I mean, that's non-existent, that piccolo. Is that even playing? Probably not, because the group's muted. Durr. Oh my goodness, what's happened to that group? I accidentally deleted the output for it. Yes. How have I done that? Strange. Well, that explains before why I couldn't hear the BBC wood stack woodwind. How very peculiar. And if it somehow reappears, yeah, it's definitely deleted itself. Or I've undone like one too many steps. That explains why that wasn't working. Apologies. We all make mistakes. So that little riff, there's a violin here that's not being used. So I'm going to make sure that's on there. I like the spiccato bit, it's got a bit more attack on it. It is slightly delayed, so you need to do some type of time compensation on some of these plugins, because they've got, it's like, there's a massive chart somewhere on the internet, but it's between 30 to 50 milliseconds on some, and yeah. Hear how they all sound slightly delayed? So basically, with all the BBC stuff, I will just have to apply the same time compensation on them, which, as I've said already, it's between... I always just kind of put up like a -30 delay on it. So it basically, what that does is it brings the MIDI forward slightly. So hopefully... Yes, you can see up there, there's one that's not done that. This should make it all sound a little bit more quick. -33, that's fine. -36. And then some of these I just need to... What I've probably not done there is, as I've done it, you can apply it across all the tracks. I think I've got to do Shift and Control whilst I do it. Or... yeah, the other way of doing it is, and this is obviously just a Cubase thing, but if you go into the mixer, oops, just going to hit F3, I can do absolute mode, force all parameters to the same value, hit that and Q-Link, and then go in here and type -30 again. So do -30, yeah. And then that should have applied. It's not. It should normally apply. Might be one of the parameters it doesn't work on that because of the nature of it. So I'll just go through and get all that updated. Wonder why that's not worked. Bit rusty on the Cubase. -3000. See how my keyboard's glitching out there? -30. Come on. And it's alright if it sounds delayed. As long as they all sound delayed together, it's not too bad. But when some are delayed and some aren't, that's when you start hearing all sorts of nasty stuff. So let's try this. Sounds worse somehow. Might have overcompensated on it. Yeah, it's definitely worse. So the way to test it, you're really stuck. And to be honest, if I'm doing a long session and I'm like, what an oops, and I get stuck, there's a really easy way of figuring it out, which would be to render it to audio like this. and actually just study the waveform. So wherever on earth that has saved, imagine it's here. You can normally see it in the waveform. So like, you see this bit here? So I could probably, if I change this to seconds and went really kind of into it, that little bit of thingy there. It's this middle bit here, which you're looking at. The reference point is just open it like that, a bit easier. It is off by about, God, what is that? 859. Christ, not got the patience for this today. But yeah, you can look at it that way and kind of make manual adjustments in there. I'm not going to do that because I can just hear it MIDI level. So by comparing it to, oops. See what I mean? It's not quite, it's not tight sounding. So I need to find out which one is slightly off. And there's a way of doing that, which is to use a instantaneous sounding thing, such as a kick drum. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's literally on the beat. Could not be any more obvious. Could get a bass as well if it's struggling a bit. So placeholder bass I've got here. Okay. Probably as close as it's going to get. Okay, so that Tina Guo cello stuff, what I will do is I'll put all of those as -17. I think it's -17.4, I'd set that out. So let's do the same. God, I don't know why it doesn't want to play nice. Yeah, I think there's probably 2 more. Oh, just 1 more. And then I'll see how much the BBC stuff's out with. A bit of a faff, but I'd rather show people the process of diagnosing it and going through it, because otherwise you're like, why does everything sound delayed? And then what people end up doing is you start grabbing all the MIDI and then unquantizing it, chucking it off the grid. Didn't mean to do that. And then you start doing like manual adjustments like this, and then you lose control of your project quite quickly. So. It's very close, you know. I'm going to try -20 on both of those and just see. Nope, definitely not -20. It should sound like the rock and roll thing, this bass drum and kick drum, bass and kick drum, same thing together, literally on the beat. It sounds so powerful, but it's off by like bug's dick, literally like minuscule. It makes it sound floppy and weak. Try again. So -30. I think it might be -30, but because the Tina Guo one's like -17, yeah. That sounds much better. So let's try with the Tina Guo. There we are. So, yeah, lesson learned. Be careful. I am very careful normally, but obviously when I was doing some of this editing, I've not took into account that I'm mixing different sample libraries, and also even within the same sample libraries, different samples, articulations, and playing styles, and all these things. They do not always voice like instantly. So there's like little subtle delays between when you hit your key or when you input your notes. It might take, as you say, with this case, about 30 milliseconds before the sample actually starts playing, and then you've got to do some compensation. If you're not aware of that and you're going, oh my god, hopefully now this is just giving you a demonstration of, one, how badly it can go wrong, and be like, it just sounds awful all of a sudden. And two, how you can then fix it. Just a little bit of 3 ways I've shown there, but yeah. So we'll jump straight back in. I'll try and fix the rest of that stuff now. So I should theoretically treat these on an individual basis. However, I've not got the time, and also I'm feeling, oops, so yeah, -300 I've just typed there. -30, -30. These should all be right now. -36. Yeah, we'll go through individually and fix them all. What we'll do, we'll include the bass drum as we did before, which was just kick, and the placeholder bass. Sounds much better. What's annoying though, this is frustration for me, is I've not got that same level of... I had an older mix of this, and that little bouncing around section with all the violins and such was much more articulate. So I really need to spend so much time now, which I don't really want to, but I just have to do it, making it sound a lot more articulate, because nothing else is happening but texture developments. I love it. Someone else might sit there and go, it sounds rubbish. It's fine. I'm making music because I want to, and this is what I like. But fundamentally, it needs to kind of evolve a little bit more. And then we'll look at the melody stuff in a bit. So I'm going to put all the Tina Guo stuff together, which I'm identifying by it being called TG. I'm going to just actually colour it in the lovely pink colour as well. Very feminine colour. There we are. So that's then BBC. Sure, there was another one. Oh, it's the rhythm section. That's fine. So these are the 2 Tina Guo ones. So let's just listen to those. They're both right. That's terrible. And then it does some weird and wonderful stuff up there. Okay. So This line probably needs tweaking here. I'm just going to listen to it though. Love that. So there is a separate layer within there. I knew there was. So let's make sure those are represented somewhere. They don't necessarily need to be in this instrument, but just for the sake of mixing that, I need to split it out. And I think there's something else going on here as well. If I plucked that out, no, that might be right. Okay, so. Okay, let me have a little nosy at something very quickly. One last play. That's where there should be something higher coming in here, which is what I think is hidden in this subline here. So get rid of that. This should then come to the top. Let's have a quick listen. Yeah, sub-variation. Is it that bit or is it this bit? I don't think it's either. Let's see what is going on. Sorry if this is really complicated for some of you. Like, it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle and Tetris at the moment. So this is what I was hoping to see, is this an upwards motion. The reason it's not impactful though is look at the velocity of drop off. So if I scale that up, oops, not that much. I grabbed one too many notes there. So I can now scale this upwards. Do a little bit of oops. Let's just see what that sounds like first. I also need to replicate that on this, which is where it's come from initially. Just scale that up. Nope. Oops. Okay. So now we should have... Yeah. So this interweaving of rhythms. So one is going like do, 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 and then the other one's kind of going the opposite way, and it gives this lovely little call and responsey sound. So let's try that then. That's exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm going to now do another layer of that, but this is going to be the violas. And instead of going, I might actually shift it up slightly. For some reason, I turned the quantize off, probably when I was doing the note amendment. Now, what you can do, I love Cubase for this. I can just Control, grab all them notes, and move them to where they need to go. So now I've got a third little sub like ostinato going. Let's go for it. Let's see what that sounds like. Just with all the rhythm stuff, mind you. Love it. So there's just one more little upwards action that's needed because it sounds one like thing too stagnant, which is here. So this all then needs to go up an octave, probably smack bang on 1, 2, 4. So it's 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4. Okay. We're going to do a final balance on that section now, including the Symphobia stuff at the bottom, and let's see what that sounds like. Okay, we'll look at percussion in a bit. It's a lot more dynamic and evolving, which is exactly what I'd hoped for. So, final step is just subgrouping and doing a little submix on some of this BBC stuff. Make sure there's no like residual lanes and complex MIDI stuff. I think there might still be. Yeah, so I don't know what on earth is going on with this cello. You know what? They can all play together for all I care. Just that's fine. Okay, so I will colour them all together. Like how to do that? For some reason I've not got as many colours as I want. It's like, but it's fine, doesn't really matter. Okay, and then I'm going to group those together. These will be the BBC stack, stack string group. And then what I need to do as a final thing is, well, there's two things. I need to make a stack audio group. Yes. Let me have a think. I need to make another group, which will be stack strings. Yeah. And then another group, which is then rhythm section. I think we might already have a rhythm section. Let me check. Check. Yeah, it's a primary rhythm. So what flows into this then? 3 sources. This, and this. Okay, I'll show you how we fix that then. This is where like people's heads start falling off, but honestly, it's genius once you kind of get there. So here, I've now got 4 subgroups. It gets complicated quite quickly. 4 subgroups of strings. I've got the low kind of doom, 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 doom sounds, yeah? And then I've got the higher up sounds, I've got the woodwinds, and then I've got all of them together. All of those together will then feed into the rhythm section. So I've got about 5 different submixes. So let's see what that sounds like all together. And then I'll do some tweaking if need be. Okay, so I need to get these guys involved as well. Let me get a little think. Because the end goal is to just be able to control all of those strings with 2 faders, ideally, rather than 15 different faders. Okay. What are these feeding into? BBC stack. This is where my head starts to go as well. BBC stack group, did we have that? Yes, we did. Okay, so the way to do this then is all of these then subgroups, rather than going to your stereo bus, will go into your rhythm track. So you see it top says stereo out. This will instead go to primary rhythm group, wherever it's gone. Primary rhythm. That will then go to primary rhythm as well. And then I'll show you the magic that you can do after that. So theoretically, that rhythm section is done then, which is a lot of work, but it's fully done. So primary rhythm, so these should all now feed into this master fader. So in essence, this is now a master fader for all of those strings. But if I then need to still control when I'm doing some mastering on those individual bits, I've got that facility. Here's the best bit. I can then do an audio track, which is going to be, we'll just do a stereo. The group is going to be the rhythm. So the input is that rhythm group out, and I'm going to call this then rhythm or string / rhythm section stem / submix. And what I can do then is if I want to do some live stem stuff, I can just hit record on this bad boy. And there's my final output stem. If I was happy with it, which I'm not. Looking pretty beefy on the level. Okay, so that gives me an idea of how loud this mix is. The fact that it's kind of already hit that up a bit, yeah. But let's say this was now ready to go. I could, if my system was like pretty weak or whatever, I could now disable. Ooh, it's zoomed in quite a bit there. Sorry. Let's get all. I try not to use hotkeys too much when I'm streaming because people get confused what I'm looking at. But if I zoom that out a bit more for you, sorry. All of this top section now in this folder, I can basically just click that off, and then I only need to worry about all these bits. Just still a lot of stuff I need to do. But I could actually disable all this stuff. So if my CPU is struggling, I could just go, right, disable tracks. And then I've still got that stem output here just for that section, which sounds like this. It's just going to sound the exact same. But none of that MIDI is being processed and those samples playing. So yeah, that's cool. I'm just going to make a subgroup for, or a folder rather, sorry. Submixes, stems, shut that in there, forget about it. Cool, so happy with that. Before I go for a break, I'm going to try and look at some of the melodic bits, like the brass. So let's just do a full playthrough then. Not really much happens. I could probably do some stuff with, I mean, I could do like some nice, lovely little build-ups and stuff. I'll think about it as we go. Focusing more on mixing this session, but there's not much harmony stuff going on because it's really complex rhythmically. So, but let's listen to what's going on with these two sections then. Pretty basic. It's just a string section thing there. What's the next bit? The exact same. So what's the point of that? Okay, I'll have a look at that in a sec. Are these octaves of each other, maybe? Or are they playing like counter melodies? It's literally just got one extra note in it. Okay, we'll get rid of that line. I think that's pointless. Alright, so I'm going to add another track there, or I may even change, if I restore that, and rather than it being Synthobia, I'm going to use some Crow Hills glass strings. I love these things. I'll just give you a bit of a demo whilst so I've got string murmurations and glass strings. The two together sound gorgeous. But it does this like little murmuration-y thing. I don't actually want that murmuration effect in this instance, so I'm going to just change that for a sec. Normal, very boring, I know, and just make sure that I'm not getting any added Okay, that's better. And what I will then do, let's go back. It has this natural like breathing, almost like just breathing into the mix, and that's exactly what I need. Just kind of crescendoing in, and then yeah. Probably will do the trick. That now I need to look at the melodic bit's a bit shit. It's the way to describe it, really. It's not doing anything for me. Get rid of that. It's also kind of slightly out of time because we've got samples that are playing early, samples that are playing late. So I'll fix that very quick. But so what's this? Spitfire, solo violin. Okay, it's not bad. Could probably make that sound nicer. It's a nice sounding instrument, to be honest. Sorry, you can't see the keyboard as well there. So that's a nice instrument. The horn, I don't know. Oh, yeah, a bit of Lord of the Rings, why not? It's nice because it's majestic sounding, but don't think I want it playing that whole thing. So I'll have a think about that. And then the rest of it, let's have a quick glance at these. Okay, so something's not quite working there. What on earth is that? Let's reload that. I know where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a desk and horn, cine sample as well. It's quite nice sounding, to be honest, but desk on. That's one. Try again. So this is quite an emotive sounding one. Compared to the other one, which is very much like very like farty sounding, is the only way to describe it. It's a good sound, don't get me wrong, just yeah, I need to be mindful of. Ooh, we've got some weird doubling up of melodies as well. So I'll have a look at this. So that's why it's doing that. So I'm gonna make a version of that. Gonna shop out all the lower versions of that and just have, because it's a legato instrument, it can only play one voice at a time. And then down. Okay, that should work now, hopefully. So I'll listen. Still doing something strange. You hear that? What on earth is that doing? Why is it doing that? That's so strange. Okay, let me try chopping or changing the starts and ends. It's not another version of that note, so I have no idea. For the time being, I'm just going to disable it. I can't be bothered wasting the time on it at the moment. Sorry to say. Let's look at these instead. Okay, we're going to make another version of that violin bit then. But instead of it being the Spitfire one, I've got a lovely set of... Yeah, I've got a multi... The version is too old. Well, no, it's not. I just need to change it. It just needs to have this like cutting power. Because you've got all that rhythmic stuff, which sounds great, but how are you supposed to compete with that? Otherwise... Oh, unless you've got something really big and powerful. So let's see what this sounds like all together. Thinking these two should bounce off each other. Hopefully. Alright, so it's definitely quite cutting. I'm going to bring it down an octave. Just so we've not got too much... Ugh. Octave. Not a key. So let's try that with these strings. Sounds pretty decent, that, to be honest. Right, let's go back to... We'll look at the drums in a sec. Probably just get a quick break before that. Where is... Gotta get lost, because all the rhythm stuff is now hidden. Here we go. Oh my god, it's so messy, isn't it? Sorry. Try and... I mean, that's what we're dealing with, so... There's a couple of lessons here to be learned in, or lessons to be taught in how do you keep your mix organised, I suppose. So let's just go for it. Ooh, that's loud. What's going on there? Get rid of that straight away. Ooh, some weird glitchy stuff's going on there. Horn is carrying that entire section there, to be honest, but okay. Just need to get rid of that horn. I just don't like it. I really don't. It's far too farty, is the only way to describe it. Try again without it. Bit of balancing. The other thing I can think of is instead of having one horn line, is just fleshing it out with more, which I don't really want to do, but I obviously have to because it doesn't sound great. Okay, we'll just do... So, make sure this is the horn line. Okay, let's tune that up. This is BBC horns. Let's change that to trumpet, and we'll just crashed. Oh, and that is one of the frustrations of being. Yeah. So, great time for a break. I will come back and do all this brass separation, and yeah, get that sounding great. And then going to go on to some synthy stuff and just make it sound like really cool. So yeah, something different. But yeah, hopefully a couple of little nuggets of info in there. And obviously for those who watch on the VOD, yeah, I will chop all that down. So yeah, back in a sec. Right, yeah, I am back. Apologies. Just had to get changed because it's absolutely roasting. Turns out if you sit here and do absolutely nothing for a couple of hours, so I'm trying to wiggle a bit closer. Yeah, it's pretty hot. So let me just check something very quick. Yeah, sort my hair out. Apologies. Right, I'll get straight back into this, and we shall just tweak the cam angle a sec. It's a bit better. Cool. All right, so this had just crashed. I need to duplicate some stuff. Creme. Oops. Oh, absolute bollocks. Sorry. Pardon my French. Let's fix that. And now get all the error messages because it's a new instance. It's fine, honestly. I say it's fine whilst I'm secretly brooding. Change that to contact 8. God. Yeah, hopefully if someone ends up watching the VODs, for some reason my stream views after the streams in terms of like the actual VODs are doing way better than the actual videos. So I can only assume people are just chucking stuff on in the background and like listening. So yeah, if you're one of those people that ends up watching something, massive thanks. And hopefully, yeah, you pick something interesting up. So I've pre-saved some multi-instruments, like sorry. So I've got my own sample kind of library in essence, or not sample library, contact multi-library. So all my like favorite instrument combinations, I just save them as a multi and then bring them in. I don't know why I call it quartet. And then I think I brought them down an octave, got rid of some of that. And then, yeah, what I was going to start doing was doubling up some brass lines and doing a bit of actual orchestration. So, like, people get really defensive and strange over, like, orchestrating because, like, oh, like, what is orchestration? I mean, fundamentally, you're writing or sketching a piece of music out, and then you're just positioning all of the elements. So, let's say, you know, an instrument plays between C3 and C4. You're just then rewriting. Sometimes you're not even rewriting. You're just arranging music for like different instruments based off like, you know, think of a vocalist. Taylor Swift's pretty high. Some vocalists pretty low. Like you're not going to give the same line to someone who's really low as you would give to someone who sings really high. You know, there's technical terminology for it, but I'm not going to bore people with that. So orchestration is very much the same. So what we'll do is this line here. I'm just going to solo this as an example. I'll look at doing some mixing on it in a bit, but I'm going to duplicate it because I'm happy with the overall notes in it, but I basically want to give it to another part of the brass section. So I'm going to say, let's give that to the trumpets and hope that it doesn't crash. It's not crashed this time. That's a good start. Save that as well. Okay. So these are playing the same notes now, but two different instruments. Trumpet, I could probably get away with going a bit higher, but it's not really its kind of strength. Could do it, but it's not really kind of. I've just done something really stupid, and yeah, let's try that again. Yeah, it's not the right range for it. So what I will end up doing is keep the trumpet where it is, and maybe pan that a bit left. Duplicate it again. Oh, sorry, I should call that trumpets first. BBC trumpets. And I'm just going to put there it's a leg, which is a long kind of articulation. Dupe that horn section again. And I'm looking for like a trombone or something, I think. Tenor trombone. Oh, it's painful, man. Painful. I hate it. We go again. The show must go on. I wouldn't mind, but it's only using this and my CPU is like burn and keep going. So I will get that open again. We jump straight back in. So yeah, I'll try and get the trombones to do some of the upper bits, the tenor ones, and then I can get a bass trombone to do the exact same line, but either an octave lower, or I might do like a bit of a chord. So one might be playing G, and I'll play like the other one, maybe play the D note or something. We'll have a little look, see what it sounds like. Just need to kind of give it a little bit more of a uplift. And then what I should hopefully be able to do is move on to another track, because this time I'm going to chuck it in the bin. Luckily I just saved it, so. Okay, so this was the double up. This was probably the trumpet, wasn't it? Yeah, so that's the trumpet. Like. And if you do run into issues, it'll be because, so, I don't know how to describe this without boring people, but in essence, I'm going to wait for every single one of these duplicate instruments to load in properly first, before I then start changing it, because it's just going to, so this will be loading. I've just got my mouse up to the top left here. So you see the memory? There you go. So it's now peaked at 17.1 gig. If I now change it, I'm hoping it'll behave. There we go. And then it starts flashing again. 17.4 gig. And I'm just going to let that do its thing there. So this is going to be BBC trombone. Like, see what that sounds like. The three together. Make it go higher. Can't go higher. Didn't think it could. So, what I could do instead. Maybe do like a. Ooh, no, not that bit. So, what key are we actually in here? We're in B flat. What notes would accompany that? Might have to write another melody line on top of that, make it interesting. I'll come back to it. So maybe the trumpets I do have to push higher, or maybe I push the horns higher. Nope, they can't go higher. Of course they can't. What am I thinking? So trumpets might have to go higher. The trombones, I'm going to save and then do a bass trombone. Oh, of course, I got a contrabass, tuba, trombone. Okay, I'll have a think. Bring this down. Can I bring that down as well? Yes. Can I bring that down again? I can. Okay, let's hear this then. Too low. But maybe I can pan some to the left, some to the right. What's going on with the others? They're central, right, left. Put the trumpets to the right. There's some weird octave thing going on here, which is trumpets again. Let's listen to it full mix. See if we've got that bit of uplift that was after. The answer is no, it still needs something. It may just need to be louder, to be honest, but try just pushing it up a touch, because it's on -2. Push it up to about minus 0.5. Oh, I forgot that stupid bloody horn's not working, is it? I have no idea why it doesn't want to work that. Let's try changing the sample out for a different one. Instrument. Let's try legato F. Does not make any sense whatsoever. It can just do one. I've had enough. Bin it off. We will. Yeah, just get rid of it. How weird. Very weird. Sorry, I probably said that 3 times already, but it's just strange. Now that's not working. I think I need to crash as well. My system's going to keep crashing. I will crash with it. Right, there you go. Let's try again. Build it up. I think there's only so much you can do, and I'm basically just polishing a turd at this point. So what I will do is leave that as is for now, because there's some bottom end stuff, and then all this secondary harmony stuff. Like, what am I doing to myself? Secondary harmony elements. Look at some of this as well. So I don't know why I've just done that. Oh man. So you have a problem with when you've got so many different things going on. So primary bits, secondary bits, melody, right. The melody can go away for a sec. Let's listen to all the secondary stuff then, and the primary stuff. Change that to Pro. I mean, that's lovely, to be honest. Like, I probably wouldn't change any of that. I'm just upgrading them to the higher quality Pro rather than Discovery or Core, just to make sure I can play about with the microphone positions in a bit. But that sounds. Yeah, I mean, there's a secondary melody bit. Harmony bit. Get the bass in there as well. That. It's not adding any information whatsoever. Helps simplify the mix. Although I shouldn't have done that. I need to check what it's doing to this first section first. Not a whole lot, to be quite frank. Spin it off. That's one less track. Hooray. I don't know why there's no power coming out of that. So I'm doing a bit of checking on the modulation. That's why there's no power coming out of it, because it's non-programmed into it. Makes sense. So yeah, just for anyone who's a complete noob, your modulation and expression controls how expressive, in other words, how loud or how powerful, or lots of different ways of describing that. But I'm looking for something like this. Hopefully. I think I've just done something silly. Oh, that's fine. Sorry, I'm just second guessing myself here. So, try that. Little bit farty, that, isn't it? Let's be honest. Let's go for it. All together. We're missing the horn. And who knows where it's going to go from there. Yeah, some weird little section. Interesting. Just for my own sanity, I'm going to replay that transposed a couple of steps, just so I've got a fresh pair of ears on it. And let's have from the best bit. That sounds awesome in that key. Oh, why didn't I write it in that initially? You have to bear in mind, there's this really weird thing that happens when you're writing for a while. You're listening to the same notes, same frequency responses, same everything. So it may just be a me thing. I am neurodivergent and weird, so I do apologise. But for me, like, if I just transpose something, or if I play, like, I used to listen to, like, Fleetwood Mac, Dreams. I'm like, obsessed with that song, and then I just transpose it like two keys, and it's like listening to it all over again, and it just, yeah, it's just so good that I'll listen to the bit before it, and then yeah, we'll have a nice. Wow. Really happy with that. I kind of now have this moral debate. It's not moral debate, it's just a me debate. What key do I want to keep that in? Out of morbid curiosity, I'm going to transpose it up to as well. I have a feeling this will be too high, but it's just, the thing to think of is all the frequency responses. So let's say you're mixing around like this bit here, keyboard wise, it all shifts like that. So then you get, well, this is if I'm going upwards. So you may have had some kind of resonancy or transient issues down here that suddenly disappear. You get some other issues instead, but just the way the kind of all the transient stuff sits at that slightly lower octave, it just kind of hits harder. I don't know, it's strange. Not got the same hit. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of work to be done there, but like the percussion is kind of up and down, and it just needs to like smack you in the face with the snares and stuff, which currently it's not doing. But yeah, sounds compared to when I started 2 hours ago, sounds so much better. I may be tricking myself because I've transposed it all, mind you, but that's fine. I think really, really happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to play just because people... I don't know if I've told the story on this, but sorry, I'm just seeing where I need to start transposing from here. I think, yeah. So let me transpose this back so I don't have the same problem I had when I started. So save that. Really happy with that. I'm now going to quickly load up the Infinite Possibilities track, which is another mad complex orchestral thing. So whilst I'm in mixing mode, I just want to have a little look at it. So I'll see if it loads properly first. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, then I'll probably be calling the stream there. So let me just see. I know no one's chatting, but this is mainly for VOD people, whoever ends up watching it. Pretty quiet, which is fine. It's all good. I feel like I've got something happening on the other screen somewhere. There's a pop-up that's come up somewhere and I can't find it because I've got so much stuff on the other screen. Yeah, I can't click on anything because there's a pop-up somewhere. God damn it, where's the pop-up? Ah, man. That's my thing. You know what? I will just call it there, I think. Just because last thing I want to have is yet another technical issue before I go. So, yeah, whoever ends up watching the VOD, thank you very much. Please do not be shy. Leave a comment. Let me know where you're from, what you liked, what you didn't like, what the quality's like, all that type of stuff. Really interested to hear. I'll try and edit the starts and the ends out. So, yeah, oh, it's just started doing something, which is great. But I will save that for another video because, yeah. And, yeah, otherwise, have a lovely rest of the day wherever you are in the world. And, yeah, see you soon, hopefully.